I go to the Pathfinders, and it was no fault of the incoming chain of command, no fault of the guys there. It was a mess. And when not personnel-wise, phenomenal people, but they had taken this company and they had broken it up in quarters, and they sent them to different points in Afghanistan where the different aviation task force were in charge. They were assigned to those, so the company commander and the first sergeant had nothing to do. They didn't have a company. So the company commander left sometime during the deployment to be, I think, the general's aide. The first sergeant came back because he was hurt, but he got back to Campbell, was jumping for his star, for his wreath. And I'm like, you know, that old NCO mentality comes back, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? So luckily, when I had my orders, I was coming back every weekend, I reached out to the interim commander, a guy named Tom Buller, and I said, hey, I have no right to ask, but would you like to get together and discuss a way forward for the company? Because I don't want to repeat what you're doing. So I met Tom Buller, and at that time, there was probably, including Tom, 6 officers in that company, and I'm like, 6 officers? And, you know, I'm like, what's going on here? 6, 7 officers? You know, and I'm like, hey, okay, so we kind of plotted a way forward, and I'm like, hey, and I'm like, I am not the commander, you're the commander, here's my advice, but you do what you think is right. So I'm a big dry erase guy, board guy, and we started doing stuff. You're going to the range here, we got to do this every quarter, every semi-annually. And we started doing some reverse planning stuff. And Tom, I can't say enough about Tom. He's one of those guys, you know, that just phenomenal, just a great person and just a phenomenal leader. So, and then I was out running PT one day, and I'm like, you know what? That's an awful lot of non-tab lieutenants. So I was coming home one weekend, and I asked Tom, I said, hey, it was like 2 weeks before graduation. And I said, hey, can we get the lieutenants and the platoon sergeants together in one meeting? He's like, absolutely. So I come rolling in, and I had asked Tom, and I'm like, hey, this is what we have come up with, the way forward for the company to get us from here to, you know, I think it was 10 months away before we deployed, you know, before the torch party, the torch party went. And I said, this gets us up to Thanksgiving block leave. And any questions? And because I like to train, you know, and as not just a company commander, but as a leader, you're responsible for making sure you do the best you can before you deploy. So, and I said, here's the side note. If you're an officer and you don't have a tab and you're an infantry officer, you got 2 choices. You're going to go back to school when I come there, or you pack your bags and find something else.